As the six world powers negotiate with Iran over its nuclear program, Haaretz's Middle East expert, Dr. Zvi Bar'el, joins us in the studio to discuss the implications on the emerging deal for Israel. Thanks for joining us, Zvi.
Pleasure.
What, if anything, has Iran already achieved by engaging in the negotiations in terms of advancing its regional and national interests?
In fact, it has advanced its international aspirations by being a partner, a full partner in what we call the superpowers. In fact, it is not a negotiation between 5 or 6 superpowers and Iran as a third world country, but it's real negotiations between Iran as a superpower of the area and the rest of the world, meaning that Iran has promoted itself to an equal partner, and this is a big achievement because this is seen in the area, in the Arabic-speaking area, as a kind of an advantage for Iran, which it had never been for the last 35 years.
And what about in terms of Yemen and fighting ISIS?
It has a lot of impact once the agreement will be signed between Iran and the rest of the world, or the 6 powers, in fact. It means that Iran will become also, or might be invited to be a partner in solving international or regional problems, like the the Syrian conflict, the Lebanese conflict, the conflict in Yemen, in Iraq. So it is becoming a kind of a power in this area which overshadows the traditional powers like Saudi Arabia and Egypt.
But right now it's fighting in Yemen against American interests.
And this is true, but interests are coming and going. Iran is looking for real connections and relations with states and not with organizations. And up till now it was not able to maintain this kind of relations except for Syria and partly in Iraq. So it was always looking for organizations like Hamas, the Sunni organization, like Hezbollah, and now the Houthis. Once it becomes a legitimate power in this area by having this agreement with the United States and the 5 superpowers, it will be also legitimate for it to be on good terms with any other state, and this is important for Iran.
Has an unintended consequence, or perhaps even an intended consequence, of Iran's strategy at the negotiations been to drive a wedge between Israel and the United States? I
don't think that this was a kind of an interest of Iran. Iran was not really planning, or couldn't plan, in fact, that there will be a tense relations between Israel and the United States. From the very beginning, Iran perceived Israel and the United States as one power. Of course, it plays very well to its hand that there is this kind of angry relations between Netanyahu and Obama, but it was not planned ahead of the negotiations.
Does Israel have any Arab allies against Iran?
I would say no, because the Iranian arena and the kind of front, or the Arabic front facing now Iran, is not an Arabic front for Israel. It's a kind of an internal issue between leading Arab countries against Iran. Israel is a different issue. Israel cannot claim that it is now part of the Arabs' anti-Iranian thought or movement. Arabs are looking for Israel to solve the Palestinian conflict. Without it, Israel cannot even dream to become part of this kind of conglomerate Arabic power or whatever against Iran.
What about Saudi Arabia and Egypt?
Saudi Arabia and Egypt, Egypt has a different issue with Israel. Egypt sees eye to eye with Israel concerning fighting terrorism in Sinai, basically, and against Hamas. However, Saudi Arabia I'm not so sure that Saudi Arabia is seeing with Egypt the same kind of interest, because there are conflicts between Saudi Arabia and Egypt concerning the Muslim Brotherhood, concerning the Hamas now, and all this just appeared after the appointment, the inauguration of the new king in Saudi Arabia, King Salman.
Now, Netanyahu has been warning that any deal with Iran is a bad deal. Was there ever any chance that the world powers could sign a deal that Israel could accept?
Well, the point is that any deal that you sign with Iran is comprised of a compromise, meaning that you have to give some to Iran and to take some from Iran. Any giving some to Iran is a disaster in the eyes of Israel. So I don't think that there could be any agreement with Iran that would satisfy Israel.
if a deal is reached, will Israel be more likely or less likely to attack Iran's nuclear facilities?
Less likely, definitely, because if there is a deal, Israel, if it decides to attack Iran, it will face the whole world against it. If there isn't a deal, I hope that Israel would not see it as a permission to attack Iran, definitely not by its own.
Some have said, though, that even if Israel did strike Iran's military facilities, then it would only be a matter of years until Iran can rebuild and continue. What can you tell us about that?
Well, if you destroy some facilities, it doesn't mean that Iran doesn't have the know-how or it cannot replenish its own its facilities or to buy it somewhere else. They did it all these years, so we cannot really delude ourselves that an attack on a facility or facilities will kind of block Iran from it. The point is that once you attack Iran, Iran doesn't have any reason whatsoever to negotiate on its nuclear facilities and its technology. So what we would see then, that Iran will strive to gain its nuclear abilities, to develop nuclear weapons without taking into consideration anymore whatever other countries or other nations are wanting from it. And this is a danger.
So really it wouldn't be in Israel's long-term interests to militarily strike Iran's facilities?
Not at all.
Dr. Zvi Bar'el, thank you once again for joining us.
My pleasure.
I'm Aimee Amiga and you're on Haaretz.com.